family channel. You are watching Monday Morning Talk. I am Desan Watson and I am happy to see you this morning. How are you doing? How is your Monday going so far? So you are tuned into the first episode of our perspective series. Now when we talk about perspective, we're going to be talking about how it is that we interpret what we see and how we interpret what we hear and what we feel. But today we're going to specifically be talking about how I interpret what I see. Let's go. So one morning I got up and I looked. Sounds weird, right? I looked and I saw something, and in that thing that I saw, I started to think, and I started to ask the Lord, what is it that I can learn from this scenery? What is it that I can learn from this small thing? And the Lord really spoke to my heart, and he taught me a very important lesson with just a simple scenario, a simple scene of a plant and how it grew. Now this morning we will not be talking about plant, but it is one plant that inspired this series. Let's go into today's topic. Yes, you are seeing right, cobwebs. So I got up a few months ago and I looked outside and I started to observe the cherry tree in my yard, and I realized that half of the cherry tree had been consumed with cobwebs. So I went outside and I started to look deep, started to analyze what I was seeing in front of me. And I recognized that the cherries on the side that had been consumed with cobwebs, that those cherries, they were darker, they were shriveled, their growth had basically been stunted in comparison to the ones on the other side. They were bright and they were pretty, and you wanted to just pick them even though they were not yet finished. They were looking so beautiful and so fruitful that you wanted to pick them. You wanted to be a part of that beauty of God, And from that, I realized that there was a lesson in this. We could learn something from this cobweb that had basically plagued this cherry tree. The cherry tree reminds me of a very familiar concept that we know today as crowd. Now, based on your situation and based on your stage in life and the season you're going through, crowd to you may look very different as from how crowd looks to me. But irrespective of that, we can relate. So whatever crowd is, let's put it on that level. Now when we think of crowd in a very general level, and crowd that really can be synonymous with the effect of the cobwebs towards that cherry tree, we can think of social media. Social media is a very big crowd and it is very condensed, it is thick. We can think of a variety of social media: WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, so many others that, trust me, I am not equipped to sit here and list out all the names, but you know them and that's fine with me. Social media, sometimes for some of us, the minute we wake, we get up, we take up our phones and we start to scroll, and we get so consumed with scrolling that we don't even recognize that this very thing that seems fun in 5 minutes has become a stealer of time and has basically stolen an hour or 2 hours from our day. 2 hours that we could have been using to walk into purpose and to build something and to learn something and to just put in work that could be useful, positive work that could be transformed into something else. So whatever in your life that does that for you, that really blocks your light and really blocks you from tapping into your full potential and from tapping into destiny, that is what we're calling crowd today. That is what we're going to call cobwebs. So you know them, you call out your cobwebs, you call out your crowd by name and associate it with the lessons of today. So I realized that crowd or cobwebs, it blocks two things. It blocks our light and it blocks our growth. Now if we recognize, as I said earlier, the cherries that were on the side that had been covered with the cobwebs, they weren't growing properly. They were shriveled, they were malnourished, and they were not doing, and they were not bouncing to their full potential of as to what a fruit could possibly be. And that is because one of the main ingredients that contributes to their growth was being blocked, and that is light, sunlight specifically. Now what is blocking your growth materials from reaching you? Is it friends in your ears? Is it social media, as I listed earlier? Is it unforgiveness? Is it guilt? Whatever it is, we're gonna call it out today as crowd. And I want to let you know that it is blocking your light. Now not only is it blocking the light and the nutrients and the things that needs to happen in your life from shining on you, it is also blocking you from shining out. So because of this covering, this bad covering, you are unable to push out yourself, and the world is unable to see you for who you truly are, and is unable to see you in your full growth. Now what it also does is that it stunts the growth, not only because there is absence of light, but also because what this cobweb was basically doing, it was stifling the fruits. So it was blocking the oxygen, it was blocking the fruits from basically breathing. Now scientifically I would have to explain that better, but you get what I'm saying, right? So let's leave it at it was stifling the plant, and it was also draining the nutrients of the plant, because the plant was not able to grow, the plant was not able to do anything, and because of that it looked shriveled. And when I looked deeper, I realized that some of the cherries, they started to spoil. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Because cobweb decided that it wants to come and cover you. But that is what happens. Sometimes we're in life and we find ourselves into some sticky situation where we find ourselves surrounded by crowd, surrounded by toxic things, that all it is doing is drawing from us, pulling from us, and it is blocking everything good from coming in. So what I did, I started to tear away the cobweb layers, because the sight of this fruit not being able to live to its full potential, it bothered me. So I started to peel the layers of the cobwebs away, and as I started to pull away, it was then that I recognized how thick the layers of the cobwebs had actually grown, and it made more sense to me as to why the cherries were so stunted. And for some of the cobwebs, because it's a cherry tree, it has thorns on them, so I had to take a stick, and I had to use a stick to like pull out some of the layers, and some of the layers I even had to leave until another day. But what I want to charge you today is that, listen, for some of you, you're going to be in your crowd situation or your cobweb situation, and you're going to have to push through it. Some of us, we're going to have to push through the cobwebs and find that light. We're going to have to make a way in the midst of all that rubble. But guess what? For some of us, God will send you help send you help for somebody to take a stick and to start to dig off that cobweb from around you. That is the type of God we serve. Now in the Bible, we meet the woman with the issues of blood, where we recognize that there was a crowd that was surrounding Jesus, and she needed what Jesus had. She needed the healing power of Jesus, and we realize that she pushed through the crowd. So if you're in a situation where you don't feel as if there's anybody to pull you out, listen, be encouraged today. Push through. You can actually reach to Jesus. And guess what? Don't think that your little effort is not going to be worth it. All God wants is for you to stretch your hands. His hands are already stretched out. So my charge for you this morning: point out those crowding situations in your life. Point out those cobwebs, call them by name, and begin to move them from out of your life. Because what we are not doing in this season is allowing anything to steal our light. What we're not doing in this season is to allow anything to stunt our growth. Go in God this morning. Remember to grow, grow, grow. That is what we are about in this season. And if you are a part of the That's Grace family, and you have been riding with us from day one, or you caught on somewhere along the way, you would know that in this season it's all about growth. And it's not just about our growth, it's about your growth as well. So I thank you so much for watching, and I thank you so much for always tuning in to Monday Morning Talk on That's Grace family. Now, if it is you're new here and you realize that you really like this content and the content has blessed you, I invite you to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that whenever we post, you will know. And also stay tuned for Monday Morning Talk every Monday. Yes, every Monday, guys. I'm getting my life together, so I'm getting these videos edited so that I can have them ready for you on a Monday morning. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at That's Grace Family. Have a wonderful week, and remember to live in grace.